We are a little bit behind schedule. That doesn't matter the slightest. My name is Henrik Ekman. I'm serving today as moderator for this event. Having been interested in this park since, I don't know when, 60s, 1960s perhaps. So I will introduce the speakers, and I will also be leading the panel talk afterwards, where we summarize why our city parks are so important. It's glad, I'm happy to see so many of you here. We're also happy to be have the big, fantastic opportunity to have this event here in this Italian embassy. To start with, I leave the word and the floor to those who really are the organizers and also our true hosts of today. So welcome Mr. Michele, the Italian ambassador in Stockholm, Mr. Luis Cuesta, the Spanish ambassador in Stockholm, Mrs. Catherine Engellau, Chair, President, Protect Djurgården Association, and Lee Malmström, board member, Protect Djurgården Association. You're welcome.
So, do you hear me all? Yeah. Do I need a microphone? No. If not, I will do without, if everyone understands me. So, I will try to be very short. First, the most important thing is welcome, very, very warm welcome to the Embassy of Italy in Stockholm. We are very glad to have you all here. We are very glad to be cooperating with Rädda Djurgården and with our dear friends of the Spanish Embassy, because we are very proud of being here, not only in Stockholm, but on this very special part of Stockholm that is Djurgården Island. And as I said before on another occasion, we are privileged together with Spain to be the only ones, the only embassies who are on Djurgården. So we feel very much part of this park. And when the proposal came to have an event like this, okay, is it better now? Oh, okay. So again, welcome and so on and so on. Yes. Very glad about this because as many of you, maybe you're Stockholmers, you have seen the embassies from outside. You have been walking here around. And again, I said this is because we are part of this park. And we feel it very much. Personally, I really see the park every day when I walk out from here, and I really take advantage of being inside here. So when the proposal came to celebrate urban parks, to see and put together the experiences from Sweden, from Spain, and from Italy. So we have also our speakers who will tell us about Italian and Spanish experience in comparison to Swedish. I immediately said yes, because it is only natural. And it's also natural for us, being here in this park, also to open the embassy. And to have you here to show it, because it's we have a special responsibility in owning such an important building, which is so iconic for the city of Stockholm, for Sweden. Its links with the royal family, with the history of the island, with the history of the park. And that is why it was only natural to say yes to the event, to be happy to do it. To celebrate your 30 years, I understand well, the 30 years of the national parks. 3 years with that, and 4 years. And for us, it's also a good preparation, because next year we will be celebrating 100 years of the Italian embassy here in this building. So 100 years that we are part of Djurgården, 100 years that we are part of this park, even though it became a park officially only later, but it always was, naturally. So for us, it's only great that this initiative came. So I would really like to thank very much Rädda Djurgården and the chairs and the board for proposing this. My Spanish colleague, I know that we will continue later afterwards there. And so I think we are here to listen to what the nice experiences are about parks, and I will keep it here. Again, welcome, and thank you very much for being here.
I'll do it from here because it will be easier for me, I guess. Well, or if not, I will do it like this. But thank you very much, Michele. Grazie mille per la tua accoglienza e per il ricevimento. Thank you very much for hosting us here. I'll be also very brief. Allow me to also give many thanks to the Rädda Djurgården association, the association to protect Djurgården, for their dedication, for their vision in co-organizing this seminar. I think that their commitment to safeguarding urban green spaces reminds us of the central role that parks play in the cultural and the social life of our cities. City parks are more than open spaces. They are key to improve public health, strengthen social bonds, preserve biodiversity, and help our cities adapt to the challenges of climate change. In short, they are vital infrastructures of well-being and of resilience. I think that what we will see this afternoon is that protecting urban parks is not a luxury, but a necessity. Across Europe, from Stockholm to Madrid, from Barcelona to Gothenburg, to Rome, to other cities, we share a common understanding that green spaces are essential to health, culture, community, and climate resilience. Today's seminar is a valuable reminder that by working together, governments, civil society, associations, and citizens, we can continue to safeguard these spaces so they may remain vibrant, inclusive, and sustainable for the future. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for hosting us. Thank you very much for making this possible. I'm eager to listen to what the panelists have to say, and of course I'll be more than happy to host this reception afterwards at the Prince Carl's Palace at the Spanish residence later on. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, I just leave the floor to
briefer. I will first of all, of course, extend our thanks to you, both ambassadors, to making this possible for us, because you have made it really good. And of course, I also want to say thank you. And I know how the sponsor group, Lee Malmström, and the others in the sponsor group has worked so much on making this possible. I think everybody in here, I hope, know what Rädda Djurgården is. It's our purpose is to preserve and to make Rädda Djurgården not building much, not trying to preserve this beautiful, unique area that is Rädda Djurgården and also in the national park. So I want to welcome you all here, and I hope you have a nice afternoon. Thank you.
So wonderful to see all of you here. And I just want to start like this. It started with an idea. And the idea, we were talking about that with Catherine Engellau and the husband, where is the husband, Patrick, in the kitchen of their lovely home at Royal Djurgården. Namely, the idea to go global. In order to strengthen our voice, by connecting with friends who have the similar dreams, missions, and who also face the same challenges. So what can we learn from each other in order to protect, treasure, display our city parks around the world? This workshop could not have been possible without the fantastic help of Ambassador, Your Excellencies. I forgot to say Your Excellencies, my starting of my speech. Dear speakers, dear friends of Protect Djurgården Association. So what venues would be more suitable for this first step to go global than the beautiful and historic embassies of Italy and Spain? And what more could be more suitable than inviting prominent speakers from Italy, Spain, and Sweden? So this is the first step in our effort to go global, and we are determined to make it a success. However, this would not have been possible without the help of Sophie Paulson-Möller, Astrid Trolle Adams, Josephine Dautrant. We have worked together as a dream team with a perfect mix of professional skills, real doers, women of action, and quite a large network of connections. Finally, and most importantly, this could not have taken place without our excellencies, dear Michele, Paola, Ambassador, dear Louis Cuesta, and your most friendly and accommodating team. So, from the bottom of my heart, we in the sponsor group, I would say, I sincerely thank you for your warm and generous hospitality.
Thank you so much, Lee. So we will go global, but we begin locally. This year, this park has its 30th anniversary, and today everybody takes it for granted. Everybody takes pride in the park. It's important for the development of the whole region, but it wasn't always like that. We will now hear a bit of the history and also look into the future with the help of Henrik Waldenström, who was there from the start. He's always been rather disturbing character, questioning things, stopping things, but also achieving great results. Henrik Waldenström.
Thank you very much. Bienvenuto, mår ni bra, ladies and gentlemen, park friends, I hope. This is how it all began. I have worked in the WWF in Ulriksdal for 30 years, and I also worked with tourism, and I will show you the story here. We must remember that the national parks in Sweden was inaugurated in 1909, the first in Europe, actually. The first national parks, the first in the world was Yellowstone, 1872. Now we have some royal parks in Stockholm, around the city. And 1790, there was a very large green area, declined a little in 1920, and 1990 have a royal landscape shrinked with a third. And that's okay, of course, if it's not very important. But if it's important, it's a catastrophe. Especially during the 1990s, when it was planned to build 1 million square meters around Lake Brunnsviken. And I thought, this area, Norra Djurgården, is very important for birds. So we have to survey the birds. The birds are always important for a bird watcher like me. And there were some people wanted to survey Djurgården, but also Haga Ulriksdal. They lived in Solna, a little community, and west of Stockholm. And the species list was the same. There is a lot of highways between, but it was the same. So it was a royal landscape that connected this, Djurgården, Haga Ulriksdal. So I went up to the court and said it to the royal court, a man that is chief of all the royal parks, ståthållaren, Harald Schmidt. And I said, you must protect these royal parks. And he said, do it yourself. Educate. So I had to investigate this and give a report like this, Ekoparken, connecting nature and culture park in a big city. And the Green Party took this and forced it to the parliament. So it was quite big area, a lot of urbanization inside, called it Ekoparken. Oak, king, you know, everything is in that word, eco. And we had a wonderful environmental minister, Görel Thurdin. She was fantastic. She thought, this is very important because Stockholmers, they have opinions about the streams in Norrland, in northern Sweden, where I come from. So I have opinions about the parks in Stockholm. That was a logical. Here are we meeting in October 93 on bird watching, and she are then for the first time talking about the institute to save these areas. It wasn't national parks because it was too central, but it was National City Park. So this is the first time she mentioned that word. Before it was fixed, I had contact with Strömma, a very big tourist company. And we started actually in 94 with this label, boat trips, bus trips, walking to protect. Mental protection. If you see a park, you love it. If you love the park, you want it to be protected. So that was a big help. And here is sightseeing, free sightseeing Lake Brunnsviken. And this is a very short story, but the king inaugurated it 1995, 19th of May. Then we had the first national city park in the world. This was the idea. It wasn't exactly that in the end. It was like this, 5.6 times Central Park if you go for the land area. These islands was included, some things was not included. Of course, we need a stamp. Every park need stamps. So this is the stamp collection of Ekoparken. I had to travel around with the people from Postverket, and we showed what can we have on these stamps. Some values in the park, perhaps. Recreation, architecture, historical landscape, biodiversity, and today we should also add ecosystem services. This is obvious, Mr. Moderator. Det är ungefär som att säga herr talman. Mr. Moderator, we know a lot about green areas and health, but how can we evaluate it in dollar and euros? Here is the architecture, 500 protected buildings inside the park, like this one, like the Spanish embassy, but 491 more buildings are protected. This is interesting. Sometimes naturalists and architects, they hate each other. House is important, nature is important. Here is mixed. The values is mixed in historical landscapes. And we have them here, all the historical landscapes. Let's start with the hunting park Djurgården. Nobody knows what Djurgården means, but that is a fence, a deer fence for hunting. You have deer for hunting, and the fence is Djurgården. So that can you tell your grandchildren. And it started 1570s, even with reindeer and moose. But it was closed 1820 by Carl XIV Johan. In the northern part, we have Ulriksdal Park from the 1640, Ulriksdal Palace with WWF Sweden office, and we have a Baroque garden, very structured. And then, as opposite to this, we have in the 70s, they have Lake Brunnsviken with the Eco Temple. The English park wanted to create surprises from buildings from another age, another culture, like this Greek Eco Temple. And then we have a Navy base. Navy base is included with a lot of important buildings that show that this is a Navy base that is well preserved. You can read it and see here, I have a Navy base. And we also have connection with the archipelago, of course, with 30,000 islands. I hope the ambassadors will visit the archipelago outside the park. 30,000 islands, and there's a lot. Then we have the biological diversity, and not far from here, the ambassadors can go for a morning walk birding at Isbladskärret, only 15 minutes from here, one of Stockholm's best bird watching sites. And I borrowed the herons from Skansen. I put up some nests, so all the herons from Skansen started to live here. But we also have some mammals, foxes, and we also have the Path of Love at Isbladskärret. This was a gift from WWF to the wedding. And here, what is here? Here is explanation in the love path for Crown Princess and Prince Daniel why this nature is important. Evaluate that, Mr. Moderator, in crowns and euros. Then we have the oaks for our important ship. Sweden was once a very important, strong nation. We have we dominated Northern Europe 1658. Peace in Roskilde. We were very powerful. Then came Karl XII, and he lost everything. We have here, these oaks are not for ships anymore. They are for biological diversity, densest population of thorny owls. Some insects that not are found anywhere else in Sweden. And we also have wild forests, not far from the embassies. We have wild forests, spruce and pine, that also include a lot of biological diversity. These beavers are trying to take down these trees very much. Then we have these facts that in Chicago, all the native flowers are inside the Chicago, not outside, because there is cornfields and everything. And it's the same actually with Djurgården, Haga, Ulriksdal. They have a lot of rich nature that we cannot find far from the city. So actually we have more rich nature in the city and we find outside the city when it comes to species. Ecosystem service is free but priceless. Free but priceless. Water cleaning, pollination, and climate resilience is very important. And we need nature-based solutions to fight climate change. The ambassadors, you mentioned it. But this is from southern Sweden, but Copenhagen had a heavy rain 2 hours, costed $11 billion. After that, they started with a blue-green planning for Copenhagen. So climate resilience need large parks and green cities. So me and Richard, we organized this conference, large parks in large cities. But you cannot only have large parks, you need a greening overall. And Paris is best, I think. Paris know what happens to the city when you get heat waves. The mayor, Anna Hidalgo, she know that it's warm here. It's less warm in short grass and it's less warm in high grass. That's why Edith Piaf, her tomb is surrounded by high grass to prevent from climate change. This is Cimetière Père Lachaise in Paris. Perhaps you've been there. Van Morrison is there, Edith Piaf is there, high grass is there. Every tree is a parked car is a tree. What does Anne Hidalgo mean by that? Parking lots became bike lanes and trees. And And then we have a roundabout. It looks like this. It's a piece of art, actually. But now it's an urban forest to prevent from climate change. And in Paris, greening everywhere possible. It's interesting. Greening everywhere possible. In London, they have a different concept, National Park City. I always tell people from London, we had National City Park. Yes, but we have National Park City, and that's important. They include all greenery in National Park City. And they also have Chattanooga, and they have Adelaide, this concept, National Park City. Growing cities can be a threat to green cities. Growing cities have growing traffic. And our dear Stockholm Chamber of Commerce, in February, they wanted to exploit an important part of forest in the park to get some money to a highway, Österleden. And that means that dismantle the park and also take this land from their king. That's quite heavy, so it didn't work. Now I will tell you about the tyranny of small steps towards skylines and parks. It's the same system. You go step by step. Green space disappears. First we have a one glass skyscraper, then we have another one, then we have another one, then we have another one, then we have it all that we see in many American cities, not in Rome. That's a mental protection, not in Madrid, I think, but in London and many American cities. So my last words here, protect and connect existing green areas and create more green areas, especially large parks. One man said, the battle for life on earth will be lost or won in cities. Cities is essential in this. And we need also a green and healthy city for next generation, right? So greener cities is for the future cities. Greener cities are future cities. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Henrik. And Henrik will be back in the concluding panel talk. So we are a bit late, so I immediately say welcome to Richard Murray, who will take us on this global outview, why parks are necessary on a global scale. Please proceed.
Thank you, Henrik. First, I will thank you, organizers. I hope the mic goes on. And the ambassadors for organizing this. With due respect to the county administration, which sits over there, this is perhaps the most important event to boost the National City Park in Stockholm, with you people here. Yep, I can think of no more influential people. So, of course, I will talk and trying to advertise my book.
I didn't mention you wrote this book.
Yeah. I didn't write it. Oh, I went through it. I edited it, and I wrote a couple of chapters. But this book was the outcome of this conference that Henrik mentioned. Why cities need large parks. Large parks in large cities. So why cities need large parks? Here you Central Park. I will show you a lot of other parks, and I will give you an idea of. I will give you an idea of all the values, all the various aspects of large parks that are important. First, this. Well, don't try to read it all, but I mean, this book contains park history and also a very interesting development of how demand among people for access to royal and nobility parks paralleled the demand for democracy. So there's a parallel. Well, there is so much in this book. The role of parks for well-being, the unjust distribution of greenery in cities, very important. And we need actually more attention to that and more research into that. The role of large parks for cultural heritage and identity. And I mean, this is something you have already spoken to. So here we are. How to handle large parks in city planning. That is my most important message. Think ahead. Unless you plan for large parks ahead, there won't be any large parks because it's always going to be built upon. So I'll tell you a couple of examples where people have been thinking ahead. I think the best example is Chapultepec Park. I won't have a picture of that. But in 1530, Charles V, Emperor of the world, Spanish emperor, decided that having conquered Mexico, there should be, for the people living in Tectotown, that was the name of the city at the time, 200,000 people, there should be a park for their eternal use. And it's 2 times larger than Central Park. So, forward planning. Of course, when this book deals with large park, the question is, why large parks? Why not many small parks instead? So I had the opportunity to engage Richard Foreman, professor in urban ecology at Harvard, to write a chapter where he bases his analysis on recent research. The book appeared in 2021, so it's fairly recent research. And his conclusions are this. A couple of these aspects of large parks. For cooling, large parks are one large is better than many small. One large. It gives cooling in that area, but also 1-2 kilometers off from that large area. It lowers the temperature. And also for biodiversity. Of course, little sparrows, I mean, they can live just anywhere, but lots of other birds and lots of other animals, they need larger spaces. So, and for CO2 and for other pollutions, probably one large is better than many small. But many small have also advantages, and that is for flood reduction. If you plan them very cleverly, so they're spread out in ways where the water will dissipate when there is a rainfall. If that is done cleverly, many small will be better than one big. And I think Sturegatan and Birger will be very thankful once it rains, when all the water runs down from Östermalm down there, and all the Ferraris and the Gucci they will flowing out into the lake here. They will be happy to have Liljanskogen absorbing some of that rain. Yeah. And for recreation, well, just get out and jog, go with your dog or something like that, meet other people in the park, etc. And maybe maybe for health-related mortality, he says, tentatively, many small is more important than one large. There is a rule: you should see 3 trees from your home, wherever you're lucky here. You should have at least 30% coverage of a canopy in the city where you live, lowering temperatures, etc. And you should have not more than 300 meters off to a larger green area. So that can be achieved with many small ones. Well, this is a bit lengthy. Now we'll be a bit quicker. So here we are, one of the first big parks opened. Can you see where it is? Tiergarten in Berlin. Frederick the Great opened this park in 1743, and people stormed in. Later, it became a wonderful meeting place where people advocated democracy. So I don't know if he had counted on that. But this happened also in Delhi. So this is a wonderful, this is one aspect of the value of these large parks. This is India Gate in Delhi, where Mahatma Gandhi started his big marches. So big parks can be useful for many purposes. Health. This is Gothenburg, 3 kilometers off from Götaplatsen. Delsjöområdet, this is a water precinct for the city, but it's also a wonderful recreation area, and this is in 1906. Of course, if you go into to go skiing or skating or something else, you have to wear a boulder. I think this is a wonderful picture. Biodiversity, as Henrik talked about, this is a picture of Australia. All the dark areas, that's where the most biodiversity is. And you can see it coincides, as Henrik told you, with cities. Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth. Yep. That's where there are many good explanations for that. I won't go into that, but here you have an example. This is a Brisbane, a big tree, a remnant from a farm in the city, and that area sort of has survived city planning. So, and our city is full of these veteran trees. Some of them are cut down, not far from here, but most of them have still been preserved. And lowering temperatures, of course. Of course, you can see the canopy plays a tremendous role wherever you have it. And this is a graph showing the more canopy you have, the lower the temperature. This the way it looked in New Orleans 2005. And this is after Katrina. What does New Orleans do in order to protect the city from more flooding? They create more parks. They have lots of parks, but they're creating more parks, more than doubling the park area. In China, they build cities with parks like that, real water parks that can absorb one of those heavy rainfalls that appears once 100 years. We'll probably have more than that eventually. If this area is 1/10 of the city, it will capture all of that water that comes down in a rainfall, with 100-year rainfall. So planning that, they don't do it in all the cities. They have done stupid city planning in other cities, but this is one good example. Then city parks are tremendous meeting places. This is Congo Place in New Orleans. Of course, what did they do? They play jazz and have a lot of fun there. This park, Central Park, was created in 1848. I think the first decisions were taken. We must create social cohesion. Do something to raise the conflicts between various groups, Italians, Irish, poor people, rich people, black, white, etc. If we create this meeting place, we'll have a better community. So that was formulated just as that. And very fortunate. The city was not built around there before that. There were city plans for all of this area, but they decided, no, we're going to have this park. So how does the city meet the surviving nature? In this way or in that way? This is Agricultura Sud Ecologica in Milan. It's a wonderful place, just outside the city. And for cultural heritage, you have this in our city park, and in Pavlovsky Park in outside of Petersburg, just a few seconds. You can renovate places like this. This is just outside Leipzig. It's now a city park that looks like this. And it was also done in Cairo. This was a dump, and it was created like this, promoting infrastructure, promoting small businesses, etc., and a park. And finally, Collserola, we must have Spain also, yeah, in Barcelona. Fantastic park, I've been there a couple of times. Yeah, they have the sea, but they also have the park, and here children learn how to grow from seeds to cultivating and harvesting. And they have wildlife just adjacent. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we really have this global perspective. We will now dig a little deeper into European perspectives. So I say welcome to Annalisa Metta. Where are you? There you are. So now, parks in Italy, and benefits, opportunities, and challenges, and not least, the role that big rivers can play. So, please proceed.
I'm going around. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And thanks to the project Djurgården Association, the Italian Embassy, and the Spanish Embassy for conceiving this event and making it possible. And for sure, thanks for including me. I'm deeply honored to be here today with all of you. Thank you so much. And this event addresses a critical question, that is, why are city parks important? And I will try to go through some issues, focusing on opportunities as well as on challenges, looking at the case of Rome, the city where I come from, and the relevant transformation that this city is working on just now. And more precisely, I will tell you about the role of the river Tiber at its core landscape and about river parks as tools for urban regeneration. Tell something about Rome, and perhaps you know that it's a huge city, exceeding to 1.219 square kilometers in Lazio region, in the large Tiber Valley, approaching the Mediterranean Ocean, embraced by an open circle of modest mountains with 2 volcano districts at north and at south. The metropolitan city of Rome capital, with a population of more than 4,200,000 people, is the most populous metropolitan city in Italy. And just saying within the city limits, it is the 3rd most populous city in the European Union, just after Berlin and Madrid, and before Paris. Just to mention, we need to collect the territory of Milan, Bologna, Turin, Genoa, Naples, Palermo, Catania, and Florence to pair Rome's extension. Is pretty impressive, almost for me. Rome is huge, and it is green. According to the European Forest Institute, that is an international forestry research organization, with 310 square kilometers of trees coverage, Rome ranks 3rd in Europe, after Oslo and Berlin again. But Rome earned this 3rd place without taking the size of the city into account. When the percentage of trees coverage is compared to the city's surface, Rome drops down to the 22nd place. Rome hosts 415 square kilometers, which is about 32% of its territory, of protected natural areas and agricultural parks. This is the highest value among all large Italian cities. But again, the urban green space available is less than 17 square meters per inhabitants, while the national average for other main cities is almost 20 square meters. This means that Rome has a lot of green areas, but a few of them are qualified as livable urban parks for human inhabitants. This is a big issue for Rome, and for sure the quality of the life in Rome. And I think that is also a way through which we can approach a first answer to the critical question of this event. So, city parks are important because they make urban nature accessible, and it's not banal at all. The need for urban nature is not satisfied just by the number of parks, the amount of the surfaces, or their extensions, because it depends on the kind of experience that we humans can have there. Rome's large parks are mainly historical ones. They were private ones, then turned into public space at the end of the 19th century when Rome became the capital city of Italy. But they are even natural reserves, archaeological sites, or agricultural estate. But looking at the map on your right, we surprisingly note that one of the main natural features of Rome, that is the Tiber River, is not included among the green areas of the city and the urban parks of Rome. Indeed, for the past 150 years, Tiber disappeared from Rome imaginary and life as a sort of ghost. The city has been literally covering the river, laying its recent building footprint on the Tiber and its tributaries' riverbeds. In Rome, there has been no room for the river for a lot of time. This removal followed in different ways. In the core of the city, it was due to do 20-meter-high embankments running on both sides for about 8 kilometers that were built over 50 years between the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. While rescuing, for sure, the city by the risk of flooding, they totally separated urban life from the river, which became like a pipe down there, invisible and far from everyday life. At the north and south, out of the historical center, natural riverside remained, but they were occupied by improper, even though legal, private sporting clubs, for example, owned by professional associations or served to employees of Italian ministries and armies. So again, the Tiber was a ghost because the riversides are not available for people. In other parts, Tiber is completely neglected without any care and maintenance by the municipality, and it is often occupied by illegal landfills or settlements of homeless or very low-income people. This produces three horrible interlaced effects: pollution, inaccessibility, and spatial and symbolic removal of both the river and the poorest people who, on the contrary, need help and support from public institutions. But recently, I'm very happy for that, after long-lasting disregarding, this situation has been rapidly changing. 2 years ago, in 2023, the city adopted a master plan called Urban Tiber Regeneration, Water Infrastructure, Nature and Culture, which sets out a unified and strategic vision to regenerate the Tiber banks and enhance its role in terms of connectivity, functionality, ecology, microclimate, culture, sports, and for sure, recreation. Thanks to the convergence of financial resources from the 2025 Jubilee, you know that now we have Jubilee in Rome, and the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, Italy's plan to revive its economy after the COVID pandemic, approved in 2021 as part of the European Recovery Fund program, the master plan identifies priority projects located along the entire length of the river from north to south as far as Ostia, the coastal district of Rome that you can find at the bottom on the right. The master plan provides a list of devices, for example, pavement or furniture, a list of nature-based solutions, and improvements to urban drainage and microclimate. They are prototypical solutions that can be repeated and applied in different contexts along the river to ensure unity across all projects, making them appear as part of a unified system despite their differences. Among the typological solutions, we can find a peculiar kind of space, which is named Parco da Faccio, that is, viewing park. It is a park for walking, resting, enjoying recreational and sporting facilities, and literally looking over the river. This is a list of the main viewing parks that have been realized in Rome in the last 3 years, most of them, as you can see, really in the last months in 2025. The following slides will show some of these projects. As you can see, they are frugal, and design is minimal. Sometimes they resemble just forestry arrangement or just cleaning and maintenance. They are almost always equipped with sports and playing facilities. In some cases, the focus is on paving and easy-to-wear squares or city avenues. Making these areas usable and habitable is the main purpose of this project. The aim is to turn the river into a new cardinal axis of the city, bringing people there and elevating its status from that of a mere background. Riversides are no longer waste, but resources for urban life. This is really, believe me, a revolution for Rome. It's really a revolution. And more generally, it is one of the answers to the question, why are parks important? Parks are important because they are extraordinary platform for democratic, collective, civic life that welcome everyone and unfold new perspective and desires. This is very important, desires. Until recently, Roman citizens will never have imagined being able to freely enjoy the riverbeds because such places simply did not exist, hidden, stolen, or neglected as they were. Consequently, people did not even realize that they could desire, claim, or demand those spaces. These projects are changing the daily habits, imagination, and ambitions of Roman citizens about their quality of life. Centrally, they have some limitations. One major is that they are literally just parks with a view. The river becomes something to look at because there is no other relation with it, either in terms of use or environmental issues. In a sense, the river remains foreign, a pleasure, but a very distant background. The case of the Tiberias beach is striking. Although this park is designed to resemble an urban beach on the riverbank, it is in fact completely separated from the river. You can see a fence. The only water present takes the form of fountains for playing in and cooling off during the summer heat. There are several reasons for that. Firstly, the river is not suitable for swimming as the water is not clean enough. It is a problem. It is also considered dangerous as people could get hurt, and the public administration systematically avoids taking responsibility for public safety in spaces such as those. Finally, the banks of the river are divided between many different owners, including the Harbour Master's Office, the Lazio region, and the city, which creates an administrative issues. So again, parks are important because they highlight the senselessness of this division and the many political redundancy and conflict underlying the design and management of urban public spaces. Conversely, other projects in the same list have a closer relationship with the Tiber. They consider the river not only as a backdrop, but also as an active element with which to co-design the layout and co-plan the activities of the park. In Marconi Park, for instance, the site is divided into two sections. The upper area has outdoor gathering spaces and playgrounds, not different from the others we already saw in the other slides. But the lower area, instead, has very little equipment, as you can see, because it is occasionally flooded by the Tiber, whose behaviors are properly considered. A more extreme example of this approach is the Lungotevere delle Navi project. The site was part of the 8-kilometer-long wall and embankments that I mentioned before, and due to a systematic lack of maintenance, seasonal floods have been depositing layer upon layers of organic matter, including mud, sand, leaves, and tree trunks, as well as all kinds of waste. Over the decades, the paved surface of the embankments was completely covered by compost, which created a new soil and a new wild ecosystem right in the heart of the city. This area was neglected for years, but a project completed a few months ago transformed it into an urban park that celebrates urban wilderness. The site is now open to the public for walking, resting, and observing urban nature, with the addition of a linear wooden platform suspended above the ground. So parks are important because they teach us how to engage with nature in a more collaborative and sensible way, rather than being obsessed with control and just being satisfied with panorama. Finally, I would like to share with you a project from my own firm that is called OSA, in which we attempted to address some of the contradictions already mentioned. The first relates to ownership. This park, in fact, is both private and public. The region owns the sites. Meantime, the city includes its own green spaces, but a private company named Poste Italiane is responsible for implementing the project and managing the site. This company uses the parks as the sports club for its employees, but opens it to the public, thanks to a contract with the municipality. Private involvement means to have more resources available for development and maintenance of the site, but the exclusive use of the riverside, as in many traditional sporting centers, is avoided. The second issue concerns the relationship between city and the river. Here, equipped areas and flood zones coincide and overlap each other. This large playground is designed to be flooded thanks to its geometry, materials, and equipment. People and water inhabit the same place according to their own rhythms of life. There is no separation, but collaboration and negotiation. The river is not just the background, it is a non-human inhabitant of the city. Parks are therefore important because they teach us how to live together, becoming a manifesto source about social, spatial, environmental, and political harmony, including both human and not human. And I want just to end with the last consideration. It is that all these parks make together a whole large urban park for Rome. If taken separately, each of them is not so special, to be honest. No one is unforgettable, no one is unique. But together, they make something stronger and bigger. Together, they make a connective lace between the city and the river, the private and the public, the designed and the spontaneous, the human and not human. Their value is just because they work together. How to live together, how to think globally, perhaps. This is the goal, whatever, whenever, and however. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Annalisa. It's really inspiring, encouraging. Thank you so much. We move ahead immediately to Spain. So welcome Alberto Ibas, founder Smart Urban Parks in Spain. So, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, you can hear me? Almost. Hello? Microphone on. Yes. Okay, now let's talk about Spain. I love it, the one of Italy. Okay, here we go. And we talk a little bit about a couple of Spanish parks. First of all, where we are in Spain, south to the left, and we talk about Madrid, Barcelona, and Zaragoza, which is my city. First of all, it's Madrid. The famous park in Madrid is called El Retiro, but you can see, for example, is from 1767. And this is a park that you can see in Madrid from the sky. Very few green areas. It's not nothing to be like Stockholm. Very few green areas. And this park used to be apart from the king. It used to be hunting the deer, things like that. Like in the 18th century, that becomes for the city, and all the houses around the park. They are the most higher and the most expensive houses. The architecture of the park is really nice, and it's a very nice place because Madrid is a lot of traffic, a lot of people there, and when you go there, you forget that you are in a big city, and you have plenty of places, very nice. This is the Palace Crystal. You can do many activities inside the parks, and as well, they have plenty of fairs, plenty of activities during the year. This is like the book fair and music, things like that. So this is one of the places that people from Madrid really love it. Let's go about Barcelona. Barcelona, as you can see, is more or less like Madrid. This is a picture from the sky, and you can hardly see green areas. And it's true, and it's because very straight lines. They have very nice boulevards. When you are walking in Barcelona, you find a lot of trees, but really very few big parks. So what they have done in Barcelona is, for example, make like a park, all these river bank, the coast. You have a lot of space, a lot of big places to be walking, doing exercise, things like that, because they haven't got enough space, because the city was built like that. This is one of the biggest park we have seen, Ciudadela, but it's almost about 30 hectares, which is really small to a big city like Barcelona. Let's talk about another park. It's called Park Güell. This is a very small park, but it's probably one of the most well-known parks in Spain. the architecture is Gaudí, is the same architecture as the Sagrada Familia, this cathedral that is so famous in Barcelona. And this was built 120 years ago, but it was not built as a park. It was built like a suburb with expensive villas around, and that project never ends. And those villas, there was only a few of them. Now they are in a little park. But this is a park that has been, how do you say in Spanish, dying of succeed. A lot of people want to go there, and it's a really problem. For example, before COVID, 10 million visitors visit the park, which is about 10 hectares. It's a lot. And that causes problems. Basically, problems to the area that is not designed for having 10 million visitors a year. So what happened? All the neighborhood, the people there were starting to be fed up of the tourists, people that they live there, for example, and then you go with, in your bus to your home after work, and you find 100 tourist people in the line, so they get into the bus and you cannot get into the bus. So they need to change. Things they have done, for example, is they have taken out all the information in internet of the local buses. So all the tourists now, they send it by underground. So if you go to Barcelona, go by underground, so you let the people, they can use the bus stop, things like that, okay? So the city, they have to protect themselves because there is a lot of people going there. Now, let's talk about Zaragoza. This is my city, okay? This is very flat, and you can see very few green areas as well. This is divided by two by River Ebro, which is the biggest river in Spain, and this is in 2005. In Zaragoza, in 2008, have the International Expo, and the International Expo was held here. Okay, so it's 170 hectares, and over there they made the expo, but this is how it was before and how it's after. Okay, the things were changing. All the things, all the riverbank was a little bit abandoned, and there was really very few things to do. And when I was there for 13 years, I was the manager of, and I remember the first day that I was there, I was with the mayor of the city. And I said, okay, Alberto, we have money to build the park, but not enough money. So what you need to do is find money to finish the park, and then find money to manage the park, which is going to be, because the money is already finished after the expo. Okay, so, and you need to reduce the maintenance, make the park attractive, so there will be people going there, and look for new incomes, okay? And make sure that people can have fun when you do the park. So what we decide is, because here nobody lives here, there is no houses, here there is only offices, and here there is very few houses. Nobody lives next to this park. So every little square with a number is an activity that you can be doing in the park. It's something that you can do, and it's spread all around. So we need to do activities for the people to come. First of all, this is so ugly. I'm agreeing with you. This is ugly. This is the place where the helicopters came during the expo. 2 helicopters, and for 2 helicopters we have all that. Okay, then we haven't got enough money now to plant trees, do anything like that. So what we do, for example, we were looking at 2 guys. They put here like a dog training for agility, and they have their own activity here. Okay, instead of having, and they pay by themselves, and they pay a little rent. Another one. We put, for example, vegetable gardens for the people, and then you can rent a place like this salon, more or less, and you can plant your own tomatoes, your cucumbers, your lettuce, things like that. 200 people, they go every day there. And then we have contests, things like that, which is the best tomatoes and things like that. No? We have fun with that things. An adventure park. There was a place. Okay, let's make an adventure park over there. We have a lagoon, a lake. Okay, apart from the water, let's make things fun in the water. And we have this thing that they love in the teenagers, especially in summertime. As well, kayak, renting, bicycles, things like that, to be doing in the park. And as well, beaches. Okay, we don't have a beach. We are 300 kilometers away from the beach, but we have an artificial that we have it with water from the river. We clean it, and we put plant trees and things like that, and the rest activities, and there's a lot of things to be done in the park. And as well, they are like nice terrace, nice places, and we do concerts because there is nobody living. The music is not annoying anybody. So we use all the parking places, and there is places to be doing concerts, things like that. Okay, things like another one, like a mini golf. There was a place, and there is somebody that is doing activities for the family. Another one, there is an urban spa, okay? It's 9,000 square meters, and they use water. But what we do with the water that the spa doesn't use anymore, we use to irrigate the park, okay? So we don't waste water. As well, here in Sweden, you are very lucky because you don't need irrigation systems to the parks. I think, no, that you don't irrigate the parks. In Spain, we need to irrigate the parks because they will not be green. Because in my city, for example, it only rains 20, 30, 40 days a year, something like that. So it's very difficult to have something green. So with all these activities, with everything that we have done, we have made that more than 50 millions. There was between 60, 65 million euros private get inside the park, which is one of the most important things. And we have finished places that the park was not finished. And as well, that means that about the 35% of the park was built by private. When I say all the park belongs for the municipality, what we do is renting spaces. Okay, we rent you this, you can put your gymnasium, and you can rent it for 20 years. But every year you pay a rent to the park. You are not the owner of nothing. The owner is always the municipality, which is very important. So you never lose the control. As well, we have a nice natural areas, and that areas, we almost don't do anything. We just collect the garbage or the plastic, whatever, and we leave it like this. This is next to the river banks. We do things like that. For example, this is a flock of sheep, real sheep, okay? And then because the grandfathers or the grandmothers of those sheep, they were eating grass in the park maybe 50 years ago. Okay, so we talked to a local, I was talking to a local shepherd that was not easy, the last shepherd around Zaragoza, and I say, we have a lot of grass. Why don't you come with your sheep to the park and they eat all these things, all the grass here? And we, first of all, for the park, it's an attractive, a lot of family come, which is nice. Second, all these flock of sheep, they can take a lot of grass, because this grass, if you don't cut it, we can have a fire in summer. So there is a problem. And then all the manure that they leave the sheep, they're really good for the park. So this is cheap. This is almost gratis, and we have this activity. The rest of the park, we were like having a normal maintenance, but instead of maintaining the 100% of the park, we only maintain more or less 40% of the park. We do activities like, for example, this is vegetable gardens as well. Here we plant tomato, things like that, and we have a back hotel. I don't know if you have heard it. And these insects that they are there, and they are good for the medioambiental. Yep, and as well with the water. This is the water of the river. It's not polluted, okay? It's just this color brown because it comes with a lot of sand. And then when we clean it into the park, gravels, plants, and it's very clean, okay? And we do it without chemical products. As well, we put a lot of activities, but only 2-3 times a year. 2-3 times a year, the park have a lot of pressure, but this is a pressure that you can hold it. And the activities are made in asphalt or in concrete, but this comes and give money to the park, which is important, okay? And all that thing have made one of the main things that the mayor was saying at the very beginning. We need to maintain the park lower maintenance. Or that means that, for example, I mean, the idea 1.5 euro square meter, if you are not in the business, they will say you nothing. But the rest of the parks of the city, it costs around 2.6. So this park costs in the maintenance about 50-60% less in the way that is managed. Okay, so that was happy the mayor with this thing. And before, I mean, which activities are you give like 150 private jobs? That maybe there will be 200 people working inside the park. That people might be the bartender of a restaurant or the sport monitor for something, but every day they go to the park and they feel the park is on themselves. So there's less vandalism, more security, and when they see something broke, something like that, they are the first ones that they call you, you have something wrong here, and it's good communication. So all the promotion events, every time that they have publicity for the parks, and there is more than, for example, street lights, they are for free, because they are in the places of these people. So instead of the public, instead of paying by the public is paying by private, and there is less vandalism. And with this, I am almost finishing. This is the two ways of managing the park. Imagine that there is only public money with nobody inside. This will be all the blue will be public money, and it's only 1-2% that will be private. And the way that we manage is like this one. Okay, we still need money, yeah, but it's not 99%. It's about 60-70%, something like that. And this is the rent that the people pay, and this is as well the places that, because they are keeping, you don't need to keep it yourself. If there are 3,000 trees inside the the private places, those 3,000 trees are kept by those people, not by the public. Okay? And I think before Henrik is going to tell me that I finished, just 40 minutes, and thank you very much. This is the park from Spain, okay? Thank you. No, stay there.
Thank you so much. This is all so inspiring. I almost wish I was in charge of all this. Anyway, so lots of ideas for our concluding panel talk, if we have time for that. I don't know yet. Finally, our last speaker, Sara Sandström. There you are. She is in English verksamhetsledare. What would you say?
I'm the executive director.
Executive director. Princess Estelle's
Cultural Foundation.
Yes. So, please proceed. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Ska vi se. Thank you very much. I guess you're a little bit tired now, are you? But this is the final talk before the panel begins. And I've been given the privilege to spend the next 15 minutes talking about something truly amazing. How and what art can add to the experience of a park. I will tell you about a unique sculpture initiative in a remarkable national city park, and why this long-term project can matter so much to so many. So let me just start with saying a few words about who we are. The Princess Estelle Cultural Foundation was established in 2019 on the initiative of the Crown Princess couple. And it is entirely funded by private donations. In close collaboration with the Royal Djurgården administration, we are building a sculpture park by inviting some of the most significant artists of our time to create a site-specific work for the Rosendal area, which is about 60 hectares of land. And as you know, sculpture parks exist in many places around the world, but what we aim to create here is an art collection that becomes an internationally recognized cultural destination, one that leaves a mark that will remain for future generations. And we want to present art that speaks about our time, but that grows out of the history and the character of this very site. And I will briefly describe the projects that we have completed so far in the Princess Estelle Sculpture Park. But before we do that, I want you to take a look at this word. Museum. What is a museum? Well, the word originates in ancient Greece, and literally means a place dedicated to the muses, the goddesses of science and the arts. Over time, the meaning evolved into what we recognize today. A public institution that cherish, care, and share objects and narratives conveying knowledge of our cultural heritage as well as of our present. And as you know, cherish, care, and share also happens to be the motto of the National City Park. Why am I talking about museums? Well, there is a reason. When Karl XIV of Johan acquired the Rosendal estate, he began to develop the area for recreation and culture. His vision reflected a wider European trend, opening royal parks to citizens so they could enjoy green spaces and art. When the Polish sculptor Monika Sosnowska was invited to become the Artist of the Year 2025 in the Princess Estelle Sculpture Park, she came to Stockholm to visit the site. This first visit was about 3 years ago. And 3 years, that's about how long our project usually takes, from the very first invitation to the inauguration. Monika, she had never been to Stockholm before, never seen Sweden, so we gave her a lesson about the Royal Djurgården, including the story of a planned art museum for Rosendal, initiated by Karl XIV of Johan in the 1830s. It was the architect Fredrik Blom who had drawn up spectacular plans, an 80 by 16 meter building with a 30-meter high rotunda dedicated to sculptures. Blom is, by the way, the same architect who did Rosendal Palace and Rosendal Stables. Although this museum was planned for 10 years, it was never realized. But during the process, more than hundreds of marble elements were ordered, but then stored and forgotten for nearly 2 centuries. This story and a visit to the secret storage inspired Sosnowska to create her installation. So this is what we visited, like finding a treasure. So Monika Sosnowska, she created a work called Museum. And this is what it looks like. She was granted permission to use 11 of the original marble blocks, and they are now integrated in her new works, forming a sculpture that moves between architecture and art. And it is placed exactly where the first museum was intended to stand. So it's not only the marble blocks that are seeing the daylight again after almost 200 years in storage, it's also the history itself. And to be able to present this work with such a story in a park that is open and accessible to everyone, day and night, all year round, that is truly extraordinary. Rosendal attracts people for so many different reasons. And some visitors would never think of entering a gallery or a museum. But in the park, they encounter contemporary art without barriers and without entry fees. Instead, we offer guided tours, daily, audio guides, and small catalogs. Everything is free of charge. And we do this to welcome new audiences into the world of art. On top of this, we create public programs and educational activities in collaboration with other institutions. Every year we define a theme that frames our program. With Sosnowska, the theme was History Meets the Present. But what about the earlier projects? Let's go back to the beginning. The very first artist we presented in 2020 was Alice Aycock from New York. The theme was Forces of Nature Beyond Our Control. By coincidence or fate, this also became the year of the pandemic, another force we couldn't control. And Aycock, she is renowned for her monumental works exploring science and nature. We showed 6 sculptures from her series called Turbulence, where she visualizes something invisible, energies from wind and water. One of the sculptures, Hoopla, more than 7 meters tall, was acquired as the park's first permanent work. And with its swirling forms, it can be seen both as rotating propellers or beautiful rosebuds. The artist has experienced wild storms and uncontrollable tornadoes, and although they can be frightening, she has always been fascinated by them. A feeling comparable to riding a roller coaster, which she did at Gröna Lund, more than 70 years old. Quite an artist, I must say. The artist herself was very delighted about the placement of the work and how the curve of the sculpture echoed the shape of the then newly built Folke Bernadotte Bridge. Together with the National Museum of Science and Technology and Konstfack, we produced educational programs for children to explore the forces of nature through art. The following year, in 2021, we invited the Danish-Norwegian duo Elmgren and Dragset. And these artists, they are famous for recontextualizing everyday objects in an unexpected way. Their 8-meter-high sculpture, Life Rings, installed opposite the Maritime Museum, consists of 49 oversized life buoys made of steel. Life buoys usually symbolize safety and rescue, but here they become a monumental reminder of collaboration and that we depend on each other and therefore need to care for each other. As a comment to this, a program was developed called Who is Your Lifebuoy? And in 2022, the theme turned to cultural and national identity. And the British-Nigerian artist Yinka Shonibare, CBE, whose signature material is this brightly colored Dutch wax fabric. You have all seen this. And this piece of cloth connects us to African culture, don't it? But it really doesn't have that history. It has its origin from Indonesia, and then it was produced in Holland, and then exported to Africa. And this has been like a symbol for trade, colonialism, and hybridity for this artist. And Yinka, he has actually lived in Stockholm and made a few works which are related to Swedish history. Yes, if you have visited Moderna Museet, you might have seen his famous work, the Vasa ship. But where the sails has been made of the same batik colors as in this fabric. And our work in the park is called Wind Sculpture in Bronze. And maybe it could have been one piece of the sails from the very bottom of the Vasa ship that has been picked up and placed here in the park. Then came Charlotte Gyllenhammar, the first Swedish artist in the park with a piece called Untold, a 4-meter-tall bronze figure placed in a beech grove near Rosendal stables. Faceless and draped in fur, the sculpture stands like a mythological being from the world of John Bauer or Tove Jansson. The title Untold relates to tell, tale or fairy tale, and how art sometimes can tell things that are different to express in spoken or written words. And last year, we presented the Italian master Giuseppe Pennone. His work, The Inner Flow of Life, is a 10-meter-tall bronze and granite sculpture where a tree is growing upside down from a stone block. The roots reaching the sky while new life emerges within. Pennone also included the surrounding landscape and boulders collected from Djurgården. This year we had a very close collaboration with the Italian Cultural Institute and the embassy. And as you can see here, Ambassador Pala spoke at the inauguration, and after this day, the foundation decided to order Italian weather for all our upcoming occasions and ceremonies. So, to summarize, our mission is to make world-class contemporary art accessible to everyone. By placing site-specific works in an area with deep cultural and historical resonance, we want to spark curiosity and enrich the site. The artists are chosen with great care to ensure that the work integrates with the park rather than intrude upon it. So, this is not art that is made by everyone, but it's art for everyone. And therefore, we are doing all these extra activities. As Alice Aycock once said, "Through art, I wish to create alternative worlds and disrupt patterns, provide new perspectives on life so that we can understand our present in a better way." And with that, I warmly invite you all to visit the Princess Estelle Sculpture Park. Thank you.